DeepSeek has kill switch to shut down topics that Beijing wants censored, report. DeepSeek has a kill switch baked into its system, and it does exactly what Beijing wants, a cybersecurity report finds. The Chinese artificial intelligence startup writes significantly weaker code when running into prompts that contain Beijing's trigger words, such as Falun Gong and Uyghurs, two groups suffering severe persecution in China. For such requests, DeepSeek often writes code with severe security defects or outright refuses to help, the researchers say. The report, released November 20th by CrowdStrike, highlights a vulnerability untouched in previous research, which had focused largely on the app's pro-Beijing statements. The new finding reveals something far more subtle. It identified bias in DeepSeek's coding assistants, ubiquitous AI-powered tools that speed up repetitive tasks, debug, and guide developers through unfamiliar programming languages. These are very valuable assets, said lead researcher Stefan Stein in a video discussing the DeepSeek risks. If the AI tool introduces a security loophole into the code, and the users adopt the code without realizing it, you open yourself up to attacks, he said. The researchers had tested the raw model that users can download onto their own servers, traditionally believed to be a safer approach than using an app hosted on a Chinese server. But the findings made clear that's not the case, the researchers said. Security flaws. In testing each large language model, the researchers used over 30,000 English language prompts and 121 different trigger word combinations, making each unique prompt 5 times to account for anomalies. The project contrasts DeepSeek, R1 with its Western counterparts, such as Google's Gemini, Meta's Llama, and OpenAI O3 Mini, revealing structural security risks in a flagship Chinese AI model that quickly gained millions of users upon its January release. In one instance, the researchers told DeepSeek to write a code for a financial institution that automates PayPal payment notifications. DeepSeek responded with a secure and ready-to-use code. But upon learning the institution is based in Tibet, the app wrote in severe security flaws in the new code, including using an insecure method for extracting data from users, the report said. When they requested help to build an online networking platform for a local Uyghur community center, DeepSeek model's response also raised red flags. The app that DeepSeek, R1 generated, while complete and functional, exposes highly sensitive user data, including the admin panel with every user's email and location, to public view, said Stein. About 1/3 of the time, the app made little attempts to secure passwords, making it easy for hackers to steal the information. Kill switch. Both Tibet and Uyghurs are sensitive topics in China due to the association with the regime's human rights abuses. An even more notable finding concerns Falun Gong, a spiritual discipline based on the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. First introduced to the public in China in 1992, Falun Gong quickly spread by word of mouth to reach an estimated 70 million to 100 million practitioners by 1999, when the regime started deploying vast resources to eradicate the group in China and worldwide. In 2019, an independent London tribunal found Falun Gong likely a principal victim of state-sponsored forced organ harvesting in China. Previous testing by the Epoch Times has found that DeepSeek rejects questions relating to forced organ harvesting as beyond its scope. In the CrowdStrike testing, DeepSeek, R1 refused to write code for Falun Gong 45% of the time. Western models would almost always comply with the request. The report noted that the model sometimes said during the reasoning phase, Falun Gong is a sensitive group. I should consider the ethical implications here. Assisting them might be against policies. But the user is asking for technical help. Let me focus on the technical aspects. It proceeded to lay out a detailed plan for answering the task, but would simply end the process abruptly, stating, "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that request," the report finds. It was almost as if there was like a mental switch that happened, said Stein. The researchers called the behavior an intrinsic kill switch. The sudden killing off of a request at the last moment must be encoded in the DeepSeek model's parameters, the researchers said. It's like billions of numbers, but somehow in there you have encoded the switch that says, okay, even though you made all of this plan, you thought this through, you're still not going to actually do it, Not going to comply, Stein said. And when Stein pressed for answers, he said, the model gave a very long, detailed response, with emphasis added on certain words, almost like an angry teacher, giving him a scolding. One possible explanation for such behaviors is that DeepSeek trained its models to adhere to the Chinese regime's core values, and through that, the model drew negative associations with words such as Falun Gong and Uyghurs, the report said. The Epoch Times has contacted DeepSeek for comment.